Hello, my name is Father Joe Fowler. I'm the Judicial Vicar for the Tribunal. Hopefully you've already watched our introductory video. If you haven't, please take a moment to do that. This video is designed to help you understand the different types of annulments that might apply to your situation. If you've been married before and are currently married, or if you've been married before and are divorced, you may need an annulment in the Catholic Church. And this video will help you determine which type of annulment applies to you. I want to offer some preliminary thoughts to begin with and some clarifications just so you can understand some of the things that we're talking about. First off, this is not a process that you have to undertake alone. The Church provides what are called advocates to help you and advocate for you all along the way throughout the process of submitting your annulment. Our advocates include our priests, deacons in our parishes, and also lay people, men and women alike, who want to help you through this process. So the first step in the whole process is meeting with the priest, meeting with an advocate. If you're not sure who to meet with or who that would be for you in your parish, you can contact the Tribunal, you can ask your pastor, you can ask the coordinator for your RCIA program if you're in RCIA. But we have people who can help you and really need to help you through this process. So finding an advocate, meeting with them would be really the first step. If you have been married previously more than once, it's vital that you begin with the first marriage. So the first person that you married, that's the marriage that you need to start with in petitioning for an annulment. As I said before, there are many different types of annulments. In this video, we're going to address the three most common types, and we're going to come at them in order of increasing difficulty. The three types are what are called a lack of form, a legamen, and a formal case. And those are the three we're going to talk about today. To start us off, Father Steve Olson in our Tribunal is going to tell us about lack of form cases.
My name is Father Steve Olson. I also am a part of the Tribunal and may be helping out with your case as well. I'm going to be walking with you through the lack of form case, which is one of the three types of approaches that we can have in trying to determine marriage nullity. The lack of form refers to the form that is used for the sacrament of marriage. Every Catholic who is baptized is bound to be married using canonical form. The canonical form includes the location in which the marriage takes place, the wedding ceremony itself. That takes place normally in a Catholic church. Another part of canonical form includes the minister, or the one who assists at the wedding, who would be a priest, a deacon, or a bishop. Another part of canonical form requires two witnesses who are present. Usually this would be, or traditionally, this would be the best man and the maid of honor. Also, through canonical form, there would be the ritual books, the Catholic rite that would be used for the exchange of consent. All of these are the norms for which Catholics receive the sacrament of marriage. Now, if you are Catholic, it's possible that one of these could have been missing or lacking or changed, but that would require a special permission or dispensation from the bishop. The lack of canonical form is the easiest of the three types of annulments that we're going to present in this video. All it requires is a form which asks the person making the request, the petitioner, if either that petitioner or the respondent was Catholic at the time of the wedding, or maybe both of you were, and you did not follow canonical form. And then a baptism certificate for whether it was the petitioner who was Catholic at the time of the wedding or the respondent. If they were both baptized Catholic, then we would need a baptism certificate for both of them. In addition, we'd also require the civil marriage license and a divorce decree, both certified copies.
The second type of annulment we're going to talk about today is what's called a legamen. This is a Latin term. It just means a bond, a prior bond. You can think of the word ligament. We have ligaments all throughout our bodies that bind things together. And the marriage bond is just that. It binds two people together. So a person who is in a marriage bond is not free to enter another marriage bond. And a legamen annulment is an annulment, a declaration of nullity, stating that the current marriage is null because there existed a bond prior to this one. We call that a legamen. If the marriage for which you're seeking annulment is not your first marriage, a legamen case might apply to your situation. With both a lack of form annulment and a legamen annulment, these are what we call documentary cases in the sense that there are objective documents that provide the evidence we need to declare nullity. So, as Father Steve mentioned for the lack of form case, so too for the legamen case, there is a list of documents that you need to provide along with the petition for us to be able to declare nullity in your situation. For a legamen annulment, the things that we need, the items that you need to submit are the petition itself for the legamen case, marriage licenses for both marriages, so that would be for the marriage that you're seeking annulment for and the marriage that you were in previously, that's providing the basis and the grounds for the annulment of the current marriage, as well as certified divorce decrees for both of those marriages. All the documents that you provide to us need to be certified and official documents. They can't be photocopies, but they also don't need to be the original 20-year-old documents. They can be certified documents that are recently obtained. In addition to the documents provided with the legamen petition, this type of case also requires witness testimony. So there are required 3 witnesses, and there'll be forms that you would have them fill out. With the witnesses, and I'll say more about this later, with the witnesses, it's vital that you talk to them ahead of time and let them know how important this testimony is, that the responses that they offer are really essential to you being able to obtain a declaration of nullity for your marriage. So I strongly recommend, highly recommend that you speak with them ahead of time, talk to them, and tell them how important this is to you so they can take it seriously and fill it out thoroughly. If your situation doesn't enable you to pursue a lack of form or legamen case, then you'll be required to submit a petition for a formal case.
The final type of annulment that we're going to mention in today's video is going to be the formal case. This has to do with some sort of error, defect, or complete lack of consent that is required when that consent is given at marriage. This is the hardest to prove because it's not just a documentary process, but something that has to be looked at carefully by the judge, looking at all of the proofs. You're going to have a long questionnaire to fill out, but your advocate will be able to help you through this process. Included will also be some other documents such as baptismal records, marriage licenses, either civilly or certificates from the Catholic Church, and any divorce decrees from previous marriages. This will also ask you about marital history, not only between yourself, the petitioner, and the respondent, but any previous marriages that they had, because that could also influence on what grounds a marriage nullity might be declared. In addition to the paperwork that's submitted would be witnesses who can give testimony about your relationship, the petitioner and the respondent, and knew you at the time of the wedding. Good people to use for this would be parents or siblings if they're older than you, but probably not somebody that you met afterwards.
There are 2 further factors to keep in mind as you consider your need for an annulment. One is what's called a convalidation. Several times, many people are civilly married. As Catholics, they get civilly married, and then they have that marriage. Sometimes they call it being blessed by the church, or they get married in the church to the same person. That's called a convalidation. When that happens, if you're seeking a nullity or seeking a declaration of nullity for that marriage, it's very important that your testimony and the information provided by your witnesses is given with reference to the convalidation and not the civil marriage. So if you are in a situation where you had your marriage convalidated or blessed in the church or celebrated in the church after having had a civil wedding, it's important submitting that petition for nullity, whatever kind it may be, that you focus on the church wedding, the convalidation, and not so much on the civil ceremony. The other thing that can be really surprising to people at times is that we as a Catholic Church recognize as valid marriages between 2 non-Catholics. So 2 Baptists that get married, or 2 people who don't practice any religion that get married, even if they get married at the courthouse, even if they get married by Wayne Newton out in Las Vegas, we recognize these marriages as valid. So it may be your situation that you, as a Baptist person, for example, wanting to marry a Catholic, have a marriage to another Baptist person in your history that needs to be annulled. It's surprising people at times that two people, neither of whom is Catholic, have to petition for nullity in the Catholic Church. This all stems from our belief in your right to marry and in the sacredness and sanctity of matrimony. We hope this has been a helpful video for you. It's meant to guide you along the process of beginning to submit your petition for annulment. None of us wants this to be a difficult process, but given the nature of it, it's often painful, it's often stressful, and we're trying to make that less so through these videos. We hope that you are more clearly able to see the type of annulment that you have to pursue in your petition for nullity. Please remember that we have advocates in all our parishes, in all parts of the diocese, eager and willing to help you. And if you don't know who that is, you can always contact us directly at the Tribunal, and we'll give you some options. If you want to have a priest, if you want to have a deacon, if you want to have a man or a woman who's a layperson, we have people that are eager and willing to help you. In any situation where there is a petition made for nullity, there's no guarantee. We never like to give bad news to anybody, but sometimes the evidence, the substance, the essence of the testimony offered doesn't allow us to offer a declaration of nullity. To reinforce what I said in our first video, please remember that none of the judgments made by the Tribunal are meant to be judgments on your moral character, your moral decisions, but they're canonical, judicial judgments on the status of your marriage. The whole essence and reason for the Tribunal is to uphold the teachings of Christ. And I refer you back to our first video if you want kind of a synopsis of how this works and why this is necessary in the Church. If you haven't watched our welcome video, please do. But thank you for taking the time to watch this video today, and I hope you find it helpful. If you need any further information or have questions for clarification on advocates, forms, types of annulments, or anything that you're just not sure about, please feel free to contact us and we'll be eager and happy to help you. God bless you.